Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV industry. And now your hosts, John DePietro and Bob Zagami.
Bingo!
Wow.
How's that? That was pretty smooth, actually.
Cool.
Getting better and better.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome once again to RVing in New England. My name is John DePietro. I'm the featured host, and joining me today is Bob Zagami.
I just come along for the ride.
Along for the ride.
You notice anything different tonight, John?
No hat tonight.
No hat.
Today. No hat for the first time in what? How long?
Almost 3 months.
3 months.
Actually, yeah, 2.5. January 17th was the surgery, and today, no hat. So I have to wear it when I go out in the sun. But
well,
it feels crazy.
Well, it's still as shiny as ever, Bob. In fact, I'm trying to figure out what's shinier, that Airstream behind me or the
that's a good,
or you.
That's a good backdrop. Yeah.
But before we go any further, we need to have a moment of silence for Rick Kessler's college basketball team that didn't quite make it to the Final Four. But I think they made Rick. They made it to the Elite Eight.
Did they? I don't follow basketball.
Michigan State. The Michigan State Spartans. I think they're the Spartans. I get the Spartans and Wolverines mixed up, which I'm told is punishable by law, if not. Right, Rick? Do not mix up.
Well, he goes off the rails when we mistake his alma mater for Michigan. He has a tendency to fly off the handle a little bit. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's it. Anyway, it's always nice to see. It's always nice to see a team coached by a great guy do well.
So we'll get to our comments in a little bit. I just added a couple of slides today because there was some interesting news in the news. Marcus was the guest of Fox News this morning because he's being sued one more time in North Carolina this time. These cities love to sue the guy for putting up these big flags. He's going to take it all the way to the Supreme Court if he has to. As he said, what the town is doing here, making this an issue, is idiotic. That was a resident that said that. Why would you do this? And Marcus, as some of you know, came to the United States from an orphanage in Beirut, Lebanon, at 9 months old. And that flag is his love letter to the country that gave me a chance when I didn't have one. Whether you like the guy or you don't like the guy, or you like the company or don't like the company, this is America, and he took full advantage of it, has been incredibly successful building out Camping World. So congratulations to him, and I hope the flag stays up there a long, long time.
Right. And, here's the thing. I mean, right here in West Boylston, just a mile from our house when they acquired Flag RV, there was an issue with the flag. Ironically, Flag RV.
Flag with the flag.
But that's kind of their symbol. If you drive along 95 and you see any of their spots, they're huge flags. The reality.
Speaking of huge, he talked about his goal is to have 1 million square feet of flags in the whole country, and he's getting now that flag is 3,200 square feet. 3,200 square feet.
Yeah.
That's bigger than most houses.
Yeah, I don't know if they put that up and down every day. If they take it down every day, because it's huge.
I don't think they do. I don't know how that thing would be so heavy. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be able to fold it properly. So I suspect they don't.
Yep. But Kessler must know, because Kessler brought him to the Power Breakfast last year. Kessler must have had some time with him on, backstage or before the event.
Yeah.
But
is Kessler with us tonight? Dante's here. Dante, you still here? Oh, Kessler is here.
Yeah, Kessler. That's why I saw that. I saw. Look, he's got the Michigan State.
I mean, he was only 2 minutes behind Dante. Dante, did we miss a lunch engagement? Are you already headed north?
Did we miss a lunch? You only been there for 9 months.
Well, he's 2 hours away. He's 2 or 3 hours away actually. So he may already be heading to Boston. Correct again. Correct and correct again.
I spent 30 seconds with him.
Who's Michael DePietro? Hi, Bob.
No idea.
Hi, Uncle Bernie. Uncle Bernie's not here,
No idea.
but he may be watching. Kessler.
I spent 30 seconds with him last year at the Power Breakfast. Lamarcus was one of the
Kessler, guys like you and us, we're so far down the totem pole. If you got 30 seconds with him, you must be important.
No, hey, we
get 10 at best.
When he acquired Marty's RV down in Massachusetts.
I remember that
many years ago. I waited for him for 2 hours, and then he said, "I can't talk to you." But you know what? What he didn't know is I had the camera on that whole time when he was telling me that I couldn't. So yeah, okay. So they put a shine a light on it, then you don't have to take it down.
Yeah.
I think that issue of the flag it's not something new. So
no.
Marcus is a smart guy. He's not gonna defy something that he knows is going to cost him a lot of money.
Yeah, imagine in this day and age, if it goes before a judge or goes before even the city council is not going to vote on it. Most of them wouldn't dare touch it.
Well,
Dante, all right. So Dante, we got 13 days. We can squeeze a lunch in there for 13 days. Sasquatch is here, and glad to see Jim. He's got. Is the snow? I know there must still be snow on the ground in Monmouth, Maine.
Yep. Well, there was in Portland last week on a Monday, 2 days ago when I was in Portland. There was snow on the ground, and so I'm sure Jim has it.
Hi, Chris. Andrew is with us. I think he took a little time off after the open house. He was working pretty hard getting that thing together and putting everything together for people, and then he had the show season. But I think he got off hiking with his girlfriend there for a couple of days. So.
Yeah,
good to see you, Chris.
My profile image. Oh, he just changed it. What? Oh, Detroit Tigers.
Yeah. I switched mine to the Red Sox. And if anybody else happens to be following the Red Sox, let me be the first to tell you that Rafael Devers is now 0 for 20. But the good news is he didn't strike out. He popped out. He's 0 for 20, and somebody's got to sit his ass down on the bench and screw his head back on his head and get that right.
Is tomorrow the home opener?
No, it's the 7th, isn't it? No, the 5th. I think it's Friday.
Oh, Friday. Okay, so they're still in Baltimore?
Petro's second time.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute.
No. That's my nephew. I don't know. He must have.
That doesn't look like the Mike DePietro I know.
I don't know what he's doing here. Maybe he wants to talk about fishing. He's a big fisherman.
Yeah.
Yankees are going to be going all the way this year thanks to the torpedo bats.
Okay, Mark Lebrecht. Mark, I sent you 2 invites for breakfast or lunch, and you didn't respond to either one. I asked if you were still down. Are you still down in Fort Myers? I got a very busy schedule trying to fit you guys in for lunch.
Lebrecht lives in Fort Myers?
He's got his motorhome over in Fort Myers. Yankees are going all the way this year, thanks to the torpedo bats. Well, guess what, Mike? Either everybody in the league is going to have 2 torpedo bats within a month, or the league is going to say you can't use them anymore. And that came out. Believe this? I don't know if you guys are following that. That torpedo bat was designed or developed or figured out the algorithms from an MIT physicist. Now, would you like to guess what the MIT physicist's real job is? Anybody know?
He works at Dunkin' Donuts.
No, he works for I believe it's the Florida Marlins, because all these teams are going to data and statistics.
Right.
The guy works for Major League Ball Club now.
Right. And there is a young man that played in the Cape Cod League a couple years ago that is he was a math major in college. He went to Assumption, and I got to meet him. And he had offers to go after junior year to go work for Major League Baseball. So he stayed one more year in college. I'll have to find out where he is. But
okay. Joe has just chimed. It is the Marlins front office. That's crazy.
Yep.
Imagine, the guy next to me is a physicist. Yep. Hey, we could probably keep talking this smack stuff all night, but
Bob, it's all stats. It's all statistics.
I would have brought them up early, but Chris said he wasn't done with his lobster yet, and he needed a couple of more minutes to finish the lobster. So
that's right. We have guests tonight. I forgot about that.
We do have guests tonight. Why don't you introduce them?
Okay, we have two cool guys, and you know what? Speaking of knowing details. Lobster. Yeah, because he's in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I don't think I'd eat the lobster there. But nevertheless, we have two guys that probably collectively know more about RVs than any other two guys in the country. And on the left, and they have a brand new show called Talking RVs with Chris and Randy. Without further ado, our good friends, Chris Dougherty and Randy Murray. And the guys,
evening, gentlemen. We are so honored to have you in the house tonight.
Right. You know what, Bob? I feel a lot better that we're having them on our show because we were just on their show a couple weeks ago. I know they set records for the number of viewers, but I think that was a show that was pretty cool because I had to sit on my hands in order to stop talking. Then I realized, well, wait a minute, it's not Wednesday night from 7 to 8, so I got to just shut up for a while.
We're supposed to be on the other side of the microphone, right?
Yeah. So, Chris and Randy, welcome.
What did your hands look like when you were done sitting on them?
They were beat up. They were beat up. So, Chris, tell us where you are tonight and why you're there. And Randy, looks like you're still in an office environment. It's only 7 o'clock, so you probably got a couple more hours. But go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, so I'm down in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And no, I'm not here for a Civil War reenactment, but although sometimes it seems like it. But no, I'm down here for the PRVCA, the Pennsylvania RV Camping Association.
Yep. Okay.
And we are doing a level 1 technician certification class
for RVTI.
So, yes, sir.
RVTI content for the
VCA, the people that put on America's largest RV show.
Yeah. Okay. So you got RVTI content, and you're teaching it to who?
VCA.
VCA. Okay. Good Lord.
Heather and her
EIEIO.
Yes. Randy, it's a hell of a lot easier to say Pete's RV, isn't it?
It is, and I'm in South Windsor, Connecticut, and I fix campers. That's what we do.
But Randy, I saw a picture of you driving a tractor. I don't know where I saw that. Was that in today's?
Well, that was just his nightly post of his picture with Randy Murray in the side left-hand corner, and God only knows who's going to show up or what's going to show up in the rest of the picture. Now, you put all these in a scrapbook, Randy?
No, it kind of just happened organically. I did it one time. I think I actually started in Las Vegas, and I snapped a picture with me in the corner trying to represent where I was. And people kind of started picking on me because I don't smile in the pictures. I try to have the same face, and it kind of became a game. And I've been doing it for multiple years now, and every one of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about.
Hey, Randy, even if we were smiling, they couldn't tell because of that rug you got on your face. So it's self-defeating.
Okay. So I do travel a lot, and I thought it would be fun to have the same picture of Randy like down in the corner of the screen with a different background behind me all the time, and that's what I do. And I'm typically wearing the same style clothes because everything I own says Pete's RV on it, and I favor darker colors. So it became comical, and I've been doing it for years.
Well, it saves you money on your clothing budget.
It definitely does.
Right. Hey, I got a question. Well, not a question, a comment. We introduced you as Talking RVs. Tell us what Talking RVs is and how our viewers today can take advantage of the content and the expertise that you share in that show.
Christopher.
Okay,
there's a commercial.
So,
there's a opportunity for a commercial message.
Brought to you by. Okay, so Talking RVs. This is a 1-hour podcast that we do every week. And sometimes we're talking tech stuff, some lifestyle stuff here and there. We've had guests on the show and have a list of people we're going to have on here and there. And Bob and John, you guys were on a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And so it is basically, it's a podcast, but it's audio only. It's like a radio show. The idea was, first of all, that we wanted to do something kind of like our old friends at Car Talk on NPR. And so that was kind of the idea. And so that's what we're doing. And so it's available on most of the great podcast platforms that you want. We have iHeartRadio, Pandora, Apple, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Amazon. Pandora, by the way, is owned by SiriusXM. So if you get enough people on there, we might even end up on SiriusXM.
I didn't know that.
So what's interesting about it is you go to our website, talkingrvs.com, and we have a thing on there called SpeakPipe. Okay. And so it's like a call-in radio show, so you can use that to give us a note or call in a question or something like that we can answer when we record the show. There's also a form underneath that you can write a question if you have one. So,
okay, so you mentioned NPR. Are you getting any federal funding?
Not anymore.
We're non-political too, aren't we, Bob?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we're really non-political.
Let me try something. I played with this a little bit earlier because there may be a lot of people that don't know Click and Clack, and I found this little clip. Let me see if I can.
And they're locals, by the way. They can.
Click.
Then we can, you can.
And by the way, when Bob's trying to figure that out, folks, if you have a question that you want to ask Chris or Randy, go right ahead and type it right in. In the meantime, while Bob is doing that, I'm going to ask them a question because well, go ahead.
Oh.
We have absolutely no idea what we're supposed to do. So, what do you want to talk about?
The one question everybody asks is, thank you, no. They all want to know, what are you two really like? So tonight we're going to find out.
And you guys are brothers. Yeah, and you have the same parents. It's almost hard to believe there.
Oh, you get a microphone and I don't. You know what I have?
Well, he has a PhD.
The first question people usually ask me is, are they really like that?
To coin a phrase, Mom always liked me better.
You like that?
None of his family members will ride in the car. The only one that will ride with him was the dog. And he has to tie a pork chop around his neck to get the dog to get into the car with him.
If you go and have lunch with them in the cafeteria, they're just like that.
Hello, you're on Car Talk.
Hi, I have a new.
Well,
those guys were like the originals, right?
Absolutely.
They started, I remember as a kid, as a young RV guy driving around this country, going to racetracks to service RVs and things. Sunday was always the best day to travel because I had Car Talk, and then we had the Prairie Home Companion shortly after. And so I had like a few hours of my day it was fun to listen to. And this was back before we had these, and there was podcasts and things like where you could control. So you're at the mercy of what was on. And these guys were great. And so, talking to Chris at Hershey one year, I'm like, hey, I got this idea, and like I think he was kind of thinking the same, very similar wave on the same wavelength as I was, and so collectively we're like, look, dude, let's try this, man. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and we just wanted somewhere where people could go and listen to like two RV guys talk about RVs, and it's not scripted, it's all over the place, so we just kind of make it up. We go into the show with kind of a premise on what we talk about, and organically it just goes, and it amazes me that an hour goes by so darn quickly, and we talk about some pretty cool stuff. So I think it'd be a lot of fun. I would be interested to listen to what we talk about in the dynamic that we do it in, and we try to be like hanging out in the barn, like shooting the shooting the crap with some RV guys.
You almost got it there.
Randy, this is cable TV. You drink, you talk, you swear.
You can say whatever you want, Randy. Hey,
I grew up in a shop, all right?
I got a question for you. It's a topical question, and it's a question that I'm asking to myself right now.
Yeah.
We just got back from our 5-week RV trip to Florida, and I said, I got to check these tires and see how long I've had these tires, because usually I like to do 4 or 5 years per set of tires and then throw them out and get new ones, because everybody will agree, anybody who knows anything about RVing, is that RV tires generally don't wear out. They kind of the equivalent of rust out. They crack out and
age out.
Age out. So I've got January. I put them on in June 1st of 2020, and that was 45,000 miles ago. The rear tires look perfectly new. The fronts are starting to cup a little bit. And when I put it on a couple of the of the groups today, the news groups on Facebook, somebody said, "Oh, I keep mine 7 or 8 years." Another guy says, "Oh, Michelin said you can get 10 years out of tires." Other people say, like me, why mess? The tires are $150 each, whatever.
Well, who the hell would want to drive tires 10,000 miles?
Right. Exactly. I mean, for 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years rather. Yeah.
Right, for 10 years. I have a thought in my mind. Tell me what you guys think about what your tire thoughts, because that's not just a question for me. I'm sure everybody in our audience wants to know the answer to that.
Yeah, so that's a great question and something that people ask quite a bit. And so the official answer to that, to how long you keep tires, is 5 to 7 years. Okay. And that's from the date of manufacture, not the date of installation.
Okay. And it could be a year's difference, right, Chris?
Absolutely. So when the tires are manufactured, they put a code on the sidewall of the tire, the DOT code. And that is, the first 2 numbers are their week. The last 2 numbers are the year that the tire is manufactured. So even if that tire is sitting on a shelf someplace, 5 to 7 years, and it needs to be recycled, because the rubber and the materials that it's made out of will age out. So that is it. There's some things you can do to get more age out of it. My experience is trailer tires don't last as long as the regular vehicle tires, your drivable tires, but keeping them covered, keeping them clean, and most importantly, keeping them properly inflated.
But he's got a motorhome, Chris. So going there only on there for 4 years, and they're good tires, he can probably get a couple more years out of them, right?
I mean, I do about 8,000 miles a year. Last couple years with the Florida trip, we've put more miles on, but since June of 2020 to right now, which is almost 20, 21, 22, 23, 5 years, whatever, 5 years of use.
5 years.
Yeah. I'm going to get new ones. I don't want, you hear of people that have had blowouts. And by the way, audience, if any of you have had blowouts either on a trailer or on your motorized product, that can be pretty traumatic. I mean, the damage is much greater than just the tire, right, guys?
Can be.
Yeah,
and you have to buy a new wardrobe also.
Yeah. Randy, what's your thoughts?
I think it was...
So on tires, the reason our passenger vehicles, we wear them out, the tires, is because we drive them daily. We're continuously moving them, so they're not getting all day sun on one set of tires. We're distributing the waxes, oils, and polymers in them. We're bringing them up to temperature. We're maintaining air pressure. If it's low, we add some because we have a light on the dash if we don't. So we take care of our tires on our passenger vehicles. Almost we do, but we're not unintentional. RV completely different. Look, if you want to ruin a tire, put it on an RV, because it's going to sit on a moist soil. It's going to sit in the sun. It's not going to be covered. You're not going to use the darn thing but 5 or 7 times a year. So everything bad to do to rubber to make it deteriorate and break down quicker is what we do with our RVs. So if for you, John, driving it and moving it around and using it more often is going to benefit your tires and make them last longer for you and keep them around longer. And rotating the tires, you get more mileage out of them. That kind of thing. But the way that RVs treat tires is the reason that tires don't last a long time on RVs. So 5 to 7 years, I'm inspecting tires yearly. I can tell by looking at a tire. I can tell by inspecting the rubber. I can tell by looking in the treads if I'm due or if it's going to be good for another little bit. I'm going to ask some questions. I'll tell where you park it. So I really like to look at the tire, look at the situation before I make my 100% decision. If I am heading out on a long trip and I know these tires are 4 or 5 years old, I probably would put a set of tires on something just so I wouldn't have any hassles, knowing that they're at, getting towards the end of their life. And why find out when that end is if I'm heading out on a long trip, right?
Yeah. Frank Pallane says tire pressure monitors. Your thoughts on those,
Chris?
Absolutely. Yeah, tire pressure monitors, fantastic things. Our vehicles generally have them, or cars, like trucks. Motorhomes don't necessarily have them. They're not because of the class of vehicle, not required to have them. So you can certainly add them, whether it's a TST or Tire Minder Pro, whatever the deal is.
Look at Jim's comment. Jeez.
That was close. Oh, yeah. Well, they probably sit in a lot. They're probably seasonal units.
Yeah, just because you see them come in doesn't mean they're like inflated or in one piece or anything. This is a piece of a tire from the 1970s.
They were the original, but the airstream was on the top of a flatbed trailer because it was the only way they could get it up to me.
And by the way, I see Dante commenting here. Dante, every time you post a picture, you're drinking with a group of friends. That seems to be quite the.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Then
the problem is
drinking alone.
He's in drinking season down here right now.
That's it. I don't have a drink in my hand. There's something wrong.
He doesn't want to go home. He doesn't want to go home April 15th. It's just the drinking season stopped.
Yep. The end of and even the last picture he posted, it appeared to be raining out, but they're still out there. And it appears with Dante's group that the only exercise that they get is getting off their recliner and back into their
going to the cooler. Right.
So what's the issue? There he goes. So what's the issue?
We used to drink pounders when we wanted to work out.
Don Haas
the oil cans?
Heavy lifting, yeah.
So Don Haas has had 2 blowouts on the motorhome, both within their dates and both with TPMS. Tire was the easiest fix. I don't know what that means.
Well, it means he must have taken a couple other items with them.
Oh, probably, yeah. Took out
the
housing around the tire and the sidewall.
Water lines. It could be propane lines. It could be,
yeah, that's good.
Exhaust.
What's the issue?
Yeah, that's cool. The 3 o'clock.
Actually, you talk about the motorhome blowouts. I think it was last year. Maybe it was either last year or the year before. There was a bad motorhome wreck on the I-81 here in Pennsylvania. If you look it up online, that was a big diesel pusher motorhome, donut trailer, blew a front driver's side tire.
Yeah,
went across the median head on into a tandem tractor trailer, and it was pretty unbelievable. So all that was left was the chassis. The body actually separated from the rest of it, and you could, in the pictures, you can see the tire, blown out on it, because it stayed on the wheel, but they couldn't keep control of it. So, your tires, real important. Making sure that it's the rubber on the road, right? So, taking care of your tires is taking care of yourself.
Would you say that's one of the most neglected things of RV owners, is that they don't check their tire pressure frequently enough?
Yeah, and the tire pressure monitor system is going to fix that for you, right? So when you go to start out at the beginning of the day, and while you're driving, you're monitoring that pressure. If it's getting low, you need to add air to it, and make sure you're keeping it adjusted for the weight in your RV and whatnot. Pretty important stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
let's swing back to your podcast. What has gone really well for you since you launched it, and what surprises have there been? What
The show that went really well was the one with me and you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was the best show of the year. Right. That won the award, best show of 20.
That's it. The best one. Best one. I don't know. What do you think, Randy?
I don't know if there's been surprises. I've had a lot of fun doing it. I'm usually easily distracted, and I haven't been yet. So that means it's fun, and it's still being a little bit of a challenge. I learn something from this guy like every week, just talking with him. And sometimes I even forget that we're kind of doing a podcast, because you got two old technicians that have definitely chewed a lot of the same dirt, and we've experienced a lot of the same problems, and we have stories to tell. Stemming from some of the things that we've done in our careers. And that's what the podcast turns into for me. So I really enjoy doing it. I love the questions from the customers, from the people listening, and hanging out with Chris it makes the hour go by so darn quickly for me. So it's just fun for me, I think, is for the people listening, hopefully, and I look forward to it every week. And one of the things that Chris and I started doing is we want people to give us questions on that car talk thing, but we started getting into the history of RVs with some of our puzzlers that we put up, and that's been really fun for me as well, learning and coming up with some of the ideas on some of the old things that they used to do in the RV industry and talking about that. So that's it for me, man. A lot of fun.
Cool.
So was it more work than you expected, or less work, or
Chris does all the work.
Chris does all the work. Yeah.
We're in our 8th year, and it's just one thing to do on Wednesday nights. So how do you view it now?
Yeah, I mean it's fun to do. We can't, because of our schedules. We can't do it live. Yeah, we're bounced all over the place. So we tape it whatever night of the week it's going to work. We talk, early in the week or sometimes the week before. What day can you do it next week?
Chris, how far do you have to back it up from taping to production to air ready?
Actually, you know what? The systems are pretty easy. It's a lot easier doing just audio than it is video, of course. You don't have the
considering all the time that Bob and I have to spend the hair and makeup.
Makeup. Right.
Yeah, makeup and whatnot.
He only takes half the time because he doesn't have to worry about the hair part.
But yeah, I've been one of my students has shall we say, a receding hairline, and that's been a joke all week, and then of course yesterday was April Fool's Day, so we had fun with that. But actually the editing of the audio is really pretty easy. The system will go through and kind of point things out for you. It also generates captions for you automatically. And you can use an AI function to go through and do some of the edits for you. I don't do that because it doesn't really work very well at this point.
If Bob and I used an AI function, it would break it because there's no A. There's no I in any of it. At least on my part.
Really a part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The A part. But it doesn't stand for artificial. So how many times a show does Randy drop the S-bomb and you have to go back and bleep them?
Actually, I'm usually the one who does it.
So ours is like PG rated, so once in a while it's okay.
Yeah. Ours is RV rated.
It was like inside the actor's studio. What's your favorite curse word?
We use camping language.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, we're just hanging out in the barn anyway, so who cares,
right?
But
but I'm looking over at our guest list over here. I see Frank Palangian. We should take a second to send our condolences to him. It was his dad, right, Bob?
His dad died, passed away
ago.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
So Frank, we send our condolences. It looked from the obit, it looked like he lived a great life, and you know what? Be thankful.
That was the impression I had. Frank had a great mentor in his father, and when you look at what Frank contributes to the industry.
Who's got the growling dog?
He's sitting on my lap. He's just
show people that dog. It sounds like it's a Doberman. Put people the damn dog.
He's just a little little coffee poo, but for some
Right, Randy. He sounds like it's a Doberman,
and I fed him too.
and it's an 8-pound dog.
Yeah, he doesn't. I guess he's camera shy. Yeah, but Frank had a great mentor, and Frank has an incredible business out there that he's kind of semi-retired, and his daughter's running it. And yeah, best wishes to you and the family, Frank. Yes, he did. Yeah, I think that was he lived a good life. We should all hope for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Our
And
open section is brought to you by.
And then Don says, Bob and John need added intelligence.
AI.
AI. I don't know. That sounds like us, Randy. I don't know.
Any intelligence. Hey, tomorrow I got jury duty. Is anybody let our audience?
Frank wants you to get a new makeup artist.
Well,
Right.
I know. Well, see, I haven't shaved for a couple of days because
You
I have
think
jury
there's
duty
somebody
tomorrow.
out there that could fix that problem?
Well, I have jury duty tomorrow, so I want to go in and look as bad as I can, so that they throw me off immediately. And
No, John,
don't
it's
handle me.
No, it's really simple, John. You go in, they check who you are, and then you say to them, look no matter who it is, I want the death penalty.
Even for a parking ticket.
I did
Kill
that.
'em.
I did that one time, and they dismissed me.
Immediately.
Then they probably
In Massachusetts, if you say that,
check on me.
they say that in Massachusetts, they'll put you in jail because you're heartless.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's not true.
So, guys,
That was true. I would have been in jail a long time ago.
guys, what do you have for? Well, Chris and I spent some time in jail a couple falls ago, right?
We did.
Right. We even had
Well,
lunch.
and even Bob. Well, Bob was in the back of the patrol car.
Right. He was.
Yeah. That's why we were there. That's why we're there, folks. Is Bob was in the back of the patrol car. We had to go to the jail to pick him up.
Now, does Lou still talk to you? Does the sheriff still talk to you?
Yeah. I just saw him a couple weeks ago.
No, I haven't had contact since we ended the program. Actually,
I have. I see him in Worcester all the time.
Well,
Just
Frank's got a better suggestion.
tell me you voted for Trump. Yeah, in Massachusetts. They locked me up.
Wear I love Elon shirt.
Yeah.
I should wear a MAGA. I should wear a MAGA hat in tomorrow. I'd be the first one to go from juror to
jail.
To defendant.
Lock him up.
To defendant at the same time.
They'd replace it with an orange jumpsuit.
Oh boy.
They'll charge you with contempt of Commonwealth.
Only in Massachusetts. It is just it's frightening up here. But anyway. So what do you got lined up? What do you got for guests lined up that we can make a point to listening to?
We've had some good ones so far, other than you guys. We've had a couple of really good guests as well. You guys in the top, of course.
We did have
Randy. I thought you were going to say you guys were the best we've ever had.
Well, you were absolutely, but other than you guys, we've had some guys that came close, this close.
Yeah, we've had a bunch of people on there, some top people in the industry or whatever else until 2 weeks ago. And then the guests that came on, everybody canceled. So, But
what are you seeing in the marketplace these days?
There's a wide open question for you.
Yeah.
Which market?
Market
Big Y.
The RV, the dealers. What do you think on consolidations? I think I thought they were going to pick up again once the politics changed, but with all the nonsense going on, that seems to have slowed down a little bit. We've had a couple Lazy Days, got rid of 3. Actually, they got rid of 5. They just got rid of 3 more of their locations to General RV, which surprised me. General RV usually goes for a greenfield location. They like to do it from the ground up their own way, but they got one in Florida and Colorado and in Arizona.
Well, Lazy Days built some nice buildings. They built some. They didn't take over,
and they made out. Yeah, and they made over some. So the location in Elkhart, has
Right.
been a couple of
Right.
dealerships,
Yeah.
and they remade that, which was nice. But that's
Did
now
they-
Camping World.
Did they build a building or add a building up front? I never understood why it was down the back and they only had those two or three models out the front. But is that not buildable land? Or I mean, you can't, other than seeing the 3 units in the sign. I never saw the building.
They
Very
paved
easy
it all
to
the
miss
way
that
out
place, too.
to County Road 4.
They did
They
come out
pay-
with
Yep.
the building. Wow,
No, the building, they renovated the sales building,
Yeah.
but they paved all the way out to County Road 4.
Oh, okay. So you see what
That's
they
all RVs all the
Oh,
way
that's
out to
great.
County Road 4. Yeah.
That's smart. Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's a prime location. It's right off the interstate, of course, right next to the campground. In fact, when they were paving that, they paid Bob and Gita at Elkhart Campground to put all the RVs from the dealership in the campground. So the campground was loaded. All the roads and things all had RVs parked in it, in the front field there and all that.
Do they
while
close
they were,
in the winter?
I believe so, yeah.
I think they closed for a few months up there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, there's a lot going on this time of year. Now, Chris and Randy, tell us, normally April 1st is kind of the start of the camping season. We haven't even called Ryan to de-winterize yet because it's 51 degrees today. Or no, we started at 29 this morning with a high of 46. So, but name us right off the top of your head, some of the top 5 things you should do before you hit the road in your trailer or motorhome this coming season, starting in a couple weeks.
Take a shower. That's always a good thing before you travel.
Deodorant. Brush your teeth.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Call your mom. I feel like we beat this to death, but it is all really good stuff. Check your roof when you take your RV out of storage, because that just took all the weather for the entire year. Make sure that is good. Don't think that your RV that you put away 6 months ago is going to be in the same condition it was when you put it away 6 months ago. Look for issues. If you look for them, you'll probably find them before they find you. I would probably fire all my appliances as well after I've gotten rid of the non-toxic antifreeze out of my system. Don't jump the gun on that though, because like John, you just said, tonight is going to be down to freezing again. And if you're in the right conditions or the right climate, you could be causing some issues that you don't have currently. So you're not camping tomorrow or the next day. You don't need to have water in that thing today or tomorrow. Wait till you know it's going to be. Right. I'm still winterizing here in South Windsor. I've looked out. I got one more day next week that's got me a little worried. Plus, I got customers that are traveling north from here, so we're gauging that as well. So I'd probably hold off before I put the water to the RVs yet. But fire the furnace. Run the water heater. You can dry fire it, just to make sure the flame's going to get there. Fire your stove, do the oven, make sure that things are working appropriately. You can do your spring maintenance. I like to check the tires, as we talked about. I'm a big advocate of state inspections. Where I come from in Vermont, we have a yearly inspection that needs to be done on anything over 1,500 pounds that goes down the road, where you have to pay a guy like me to check your tires, check your brakes, check your wheel bearings, check your lights, check your running gear, make sure you got a fire extinguisher on board, and just safety things to make it safe to go down the road. So I think common sense, even though common sense is lost, I think practice some.
Talking about the fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
I think people buy motorhomes and trailers and they see them and they look at them and they don't ever touch
Check it every year.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
how often should you be replacing the fire? How does it phase out?
They have life expectancies on the less expensive ones, some of the stuff that comes in the RV, or if you've got a larger one with the gauge on it, we want that gauge to be in the green, not the red. And so I would definitely check it once a year. Change your smoke detector, batteries at the same time. Check the date on your carbon monoxide LP detector. Once that's 5 years old, that's worn out too. So add that to your list of things to do. Check, put it into alarm. Make sure that it's going to work for you. I've seen people die at racetracks because their carbon monoxide sensor was disabled. Let's make sure those very important things that we often don't think about unless there's an emergency, Let's think about those too. Make yourself a list of things to check in the springtime and run through them, man. And if you do it diligently and you're a little bit proactive, hopefully that'll save you a lot of reactive on the back end of it, where it gets expensive and keeps you from camping, right?
Yeah. So, Randy, you bring up a very, very interesting point. I don't even know if you noticed the importance of it when you said I've seen people die at racetracks. I'm presuming these are people that are boondocking for a week, and the
generators
from their generator or the neighboring generator came into yours.
The situation that I was referring to is actually the neighbor's generator, because they were parked in very close proximity to each other. When I used to go to racetracks, I would bring what was called a Genturi with me, and I sold a lot of them and installed them so I could blow out the top. Because people at racetracks, you have a small area to house a lot of people, and people are running, they're not 100% paying attention to all the safety stuff. They're worried about the motorcycles. They spend a lot of money to be there, the ones that I was at. So you got to think about that kind of things and protect yourself safety-wise, right?
I haven't seen anything about the Genturis lately. Is there a newer technology or newer system, Chris, that used to see that pipe run up all the way to the back of the coach?
That's all there is.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. It's made by Camco and still available. To somebody else's point, Class A sales are down. Motorhome sales are certainly, not what they used to be. But yeah, that the Genturi, you can absolutely put one on if you want.
Your partner just got here. He must have been working overnight.
What's up, dude? So
Hey,
I never really heard
Ryan.
people talk about those Genturis unless we were talking about them. So I think it needs to be spoken about. You see it sitting in the corner of an RV store with a bunch of dust on it because people don't know what they are. So I mention it if I'm doing an orientation or I'm looking at a unit with somebody that's got an exhaust pipe that comes out underneath a slide out. I am telling them, hey, be aware and make sure you change those batteries because you got an exhaust pipe coming out underneath where you're sleeping. Get it? Use your head.
Interesting point. With all the standards that we have, especially NFPA and all the regulations, why don't we have a standard that tells them where the hell to put that exhaust? Because
they're everywhere.
Sometimes it's right underneath the slide out or the middle of the coach where you'd have your picnic table and everything else. It's crazy where they show up.
Well,
I think the rule is just 1.5 inches past the sidewall, isn't it, Chris?
1 inch past the sidewall. There's also an overhead clearance. So if you have a low slide out, it may not be able to go under that. But if it has, I'm going to say 2 feet off the top of my head, but I'm not sure above it. One of the things that I saw at a show this year was Jayco fifth wheel,
the front
toy hauler where it was out the front. And I took pictures of that and I'm like, what is this? But when at the end of the day,
it's following code, right? Doesn't mean the code's awesome, but they're following it.
The generator is in the back, but they piped it all the way out to the front.
No, on the fifth wheel, the generator's right in the front underneath the upper deck. So that front compartment.
Yeah.
And
right
but what they used to do was run the pipe to the side. Most of the time it would go off the side or whatever else. What they're doing with this one is actually bringing it out the front under the upper deck. But it's 3 or 4 feet up to the upper deck, which is all sealed. So it really doesn't, from that standpoint, it doesn't really make any difference. But you can't put a Genturi on that, without changing the exhaust. You'd have to move it.
Another issue, we have some friends that live in Florida, so they have to use their air conditioner a lot more than we do. And when they come up here for the summer, they'll run their air conditioner on the generator while they're sleeping. And I always say, I don't want to go to sleep with the generator on. And they say, oh, you're just a baby, blah, blah, blah. But I talked to Mark Polk about that, and he said, you're right, because they've heard of people that die during the night with the fumes. And they say, oh, well, we're parked downwind. Well, you don't know if that wind direction is going to change during the night. So I think that's important to point out that if you're going to run your generator at night, make sure you have a up pipe or a deflector, some kind of deflector to get it away from your unit.
Dante says,
Make sure that you've got alarms in your coach that are going to alarm you if something is there that's going to hurt you. I mean,
Right,
that's the
right.
first and foremost, and
There
then
you
you can
go.
make a decision whether you're going to move it or turn it the other way or add a Genturi or whatever. But have the basic safety gear that every RV comes with. They've been coming with carbon monoxide sensors since 2009 by law, and they all have LP detectors in them. So make sure that stuff's working first. That's most important, right? I'll run a
They usually
generator all night. I got no problem with it.
Well,
They
give
usually have,
Dante a 30-second
lights
intro to what a Genturi is. Chris?
Oh, so what a Genturi is it is a auxiliary exhaust pipe that so you'll have a 90-degree elbow metal one that goes onto an adapter that goes on the generator exhaust, and it comes up, and then it has a little fitting in a large black pipe that goes up in sections that will take the generator exhaust up over the roof. And so where the smaller pipe goes into the big one, it's all open. So you have a Venturi effect that accelerates the exhaust up and shoots it out the top. So it's actually a pretty ingenious design that they came up with. And so when I had my Class A's with generators, I used one of them, and it was really great to have that on there.
Yeah.
Now, when you're traveling, you don't have it, so you put it on
No.
when you get to the campground, right? So it collapses down to travel size.
Yeah, it comes in a black satchel, black bag, and you take the pieces, just unsnap, and then it also has two bungees that you put brackets on the wall.
Yep.
And the two bungees come over to hold it upright, about a third of the way up or half of the way up. There you go.
Yep. Right at the side of the coach. Yep.
And works really well, and it keeps the exhaust away from your neighbors, which is an important thing to do.
You guys work well together. You ought to have a podcast.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
Hey, Chris.
I love the logo. How'd you get that logo? Was that an AI generated logo?
So I appreciate AI and what AI allows us to do, and that was definitely generated by AI. But you got to drive the AI. It doesn't just like take what's out of your head. There was some editing. There's many hours worth of editing on there by hand with an Apple Pencil and some other stuff. So partially AI, partially Randall.
Good.
You got to start my lessons. Going back to Click and Clack for a minute, they actually have a book. Do you guys ever? I don't know how old this goes back. It's 2000 paperback from 2008, but it was Answers from Car Talk. And I saw this on their site, on the NPR site today. And I thought, keep that in the back of your mind, because after you get enough of this stuff in the back of your mind, you guys can have, Ask Chris and Randy answers from RV Talk. Now,
and
now, if you're nice, you would give us a commission for that idea.
Of course, yeah,
absolutely.
We're just not pretty faces that sit here.
Pay us by the question.
Absolutely. No, it'll be, there's all kinds of things. And of course, it's a different day today. People are getting a lot of answers quickly online. And so it was the same thing we saw at the magazines getting Q&A and, started to slow up after a while. But we try to add a little entertainment to it and make it a little bit more fun. And you're going to get good answers from us. That's the big thing.
Well, because you know what you're talking about. I mean, there are people that there are some people, I mean, the number of podcasts that are out there, and, I don't want to talk about any in particular, but there are just people think, well, if I've got an RV, I can have a podcast, and, and I've driven it for 2 months. Therefore, I'm an expert. I mean, there's a hell of a lot to these units, and the more motorized they are, and the more today with the more electronics than ever before, you got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just the thing, just the aspect with the tires. There's
this out. Our friend Tim had to make a choice tonight. The choice was to be here when the show started, or to go grill a steak. Throw a steak on the grill and drink premium beer, and then when he's done with that, he could join the show, which he did at 7:51. 7:57.
1.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable. I don't know, Tim.
No, it's Ryan. Ryan came on the show. As soon as I mentioned his name, I said, we haven't had to call Ryan yet to de-winterize because of the weather being so bad. And 2 seconds later, Ryan showed up.
Well, he was eating dinner early too.
Congratulations to his family, because I think that their son, right, Ryan, your son just won a basketball championship.
State championship. Yeah.
This time of year.
Awesome.
And, Ryan is one of those families that they're teaching those kids right, because every Saturday they're bringing one of them down to St. John's Food Kitchen, and they're working and helping out less fortunate people. So it's always nice to see that happening in this day and age, where you're teaching your kids to be thankful for what they have.
Yep.
And then on the other side of that, they're teaching them how to build a drag car. So I think that is
That's
almost equally as important.
It's not more important. Right?
Did you see the other night he posted a picture and Amy was holding the ropes? She was lowering the engine down.
Yeah.
It's not just kids. He's got Amy out there doing some wrenching too.
That's stuff I grew up with, and I just think that kids need more of that today. Put down the gosh darn phones and go build a small block motor. Do something. Figure something. Fix something that's broken.
That's too funny.
We grew up building. We used to shove Chevy motors in our Toyota pickups because we could. We figured out that we could, but we had to try it first, and so. Kids today don't do that kind of thing. I think they need to do more of that.
Yeah, you got to get their hands dirty. But I think it's once you're a motorhead, you're always a motorhead. It just depends on it's different motors going to either RVs or boats or dragsters or circle cars, whatever it is. But you know what? Our time with you guys always go by so rapidly. Normally, when I look at the clock, it's usually about 7:20. And this time I looked at it at 7:55. So
we ran out of gas.
Oh, no, we didn't run it.
Well, John, what they say, the older you get, the faster time flies, right?
I guess the hell it is.
Yep. I was commenting to somebody the other night about that. I said, man, the time is just flying like crazy. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, I just saw Dante said he changed many motors in VW Bugs. I hope you didn't light any of those motors on fire. We talk about fire extinguishers and combustible metals, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, he was trying to get more miles per gallon out of the diesel VWs. But that's an old joke.
I posted something on our page the other night. There's a company up in Bremen, Maine.
Oh yeah, the VW. I got to call.
Renting. Yeah, that's a good video for you, John. Yeah, that's renting refurbished Vanagons and back to the original VW.
By the way, I saw that new Volkswagen Buzz the other day at the dealership.
Oh, did you?
They start at $70,000. They're all electric, and they only get about 180 miles per range, which.
And then throw a trailer on the back or a little pop up, and you get.
You're not going to be able to tow a damn thing with those.
You wouldn't be able to go around the block.
No.
All right.
Okay.
There we
go. Get that off.
You guys are worried about me.
Yeah. Well, there goes the neighborhood.
Well, everybody else can see it, but I can't read it on the computer, so I have to look up at the big monitor.
Yeah.
You have a case of old
so much
bronchitis,
guys. It's always a pleasure having you with us. Best of luck on your show.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you all.
Talking RVs with Chris and Randy.
See you all
www.talkingrvs.com.
All right. See you down the road, guys.
All right. Sounds good. Cheers.
This edition of RVing in New England was a presentation of the New England RV Dealers Association. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.